What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Conor McGregor reveals huge news. For quite some time now, the targeted return date for Conor McGregor's return to the octagon has been pushed back. While many believe that the UFC 300 card in April would be the perfect opportunity for McGregor to return given the historic event, nothing has come to fruition, with Dana White shifting the timeline for his return to the fall. Despite that, McGregor still has his sights set on a June clash with Michael Chandler. In a series of Instagram story posts responding to fan questions, McGregor indicated that he plans to fight Michael Chandler in June, Nate Diaz in September in the Sphere, and even potentially box Manny Pacquiao in December. In regards to his return to the octagon, McGregor wrote, "Still holding hope for June 29. Lack of action on it, however, is now causing lack of enthusiasm. I need a decision soon. I am the most tested athlete under this new regime. Yet no date to fight. The game is a bit lackluster also at present, which isn't helping. I hope these next few cards pop and I get a date. Eliminate distractions and begin real work towards it." In regards to boxing Pacquiao, McGregor wrote, "It's still there. Could be December. The Saudis are game changers in the market, 100%. While many believe McGregor is dragging his feet in regards to his return, Ariel Helwani has theorized that with McGregor only having 2 fights left on his contract and his interest in boxing in Saudi Arabia, the UFC could be keeping him on the shelf to ensure that they still have their biggest star under contract heading into negotiations for their new broadcasting deal. In addition, with McGregor eager to box in Saudi Arabia, the UFC could be worried that their biggest star wants to fight out his contract and hit free agency, leaving the promotion without their share of the spoils. Next up, let's take a look at Dricus du Plessis fires back at Israel Adesanya. Former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya has made it clear that he plans to return to the octagon in 2024. According to The Last Stylebender, he was even offered the opportunity to headline UFC 300 opposite middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis. However, despite him accepting, the newly minted champ turned down the fight. During a recent interview with Cameron Simon, DDP fired back at the former champ.
So obviously with the conversations of 300, that would have been a massive fight, me and Izzy. And it was on the table, 100%. But one thing people don't realize is, why would I go and start a camp once again injured if I am the champion? Taking risks is one thing. I have been taking risks a lot. But why would I risk? I'm the champion now. And I can fight when I'm ready. I think Izzy misjudges himself as still being a champion, and he's not.
As du Plessis has indicated, he believes that the best option would be for he and Adesanya to settle things in South Africa. Whether or not the UFC gets on board with the plan or looks to book the bout for an event in the US this year remains to be seen. Next up, let's take a look at Sean O'Malley sends a warning to Jorge Masvidal. The original BMF, Jorge Masvidal, has continued to make headlines since announcing that he's unretired. In addition to indicating that it's still on site with Colby Covington, Masvidal also indicated he wants to compete against Nate Diaz, pouring fuel on the fire regarding the previously teased boxing match between the two for this year. One of the more surprising callouts for Masvidal has been his seemingly unprompted callout of former title challenger Chael Sonnen, who has not competed since 2019. The way bantamweight champion Sean O'Malley and his coach Tim Welsh sees things, Masvidal may be barking up the wrong tree. The pair weighed in on a recent episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, where the champ sent a warning to the original BMF.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a bad situation.
It does, but Big Chael, dude, you don't want to get in a fight with that dude unless you have a great guard and you're great from fighting on your back, because he's gonna take you down.
Realistically, there's gonna be people around. It's gonna get broken up fast. The thing is, boom, getting hit when you're not looking.
As Masvidal indicated in the past, in the area he's from, he's known for having a good sucker punch and knows the importance of having a good 50-yard dash, something he put on display when he allegedly got into it with Colby Covington outside a Miami steakhouse. Next, let's take a look at Robert Whittaker declines fight with Khamzat Chimaev. In the wake of Robert Whittaker's massive win over Paulo Costa, there's been quite a bit of discussion surrounding who the former champ should fight next. While he has run through many of the middleweight division's top contenders, with the exception of Sean Strickland, there's another top-ranked fighter many want to see Whittaker share the cage with, Khamzat Chimaev. Although a fight between Chimaev and Whittaker seems to make sense given the current landscape of the division, Whittaker doesn't seem interested in the fight. During a recent interview with MMA Junkie, he opened up on the situation.
That's tricky, because that doesn't move me. It does in clout, but it doesn't move me higher up in the rankings. I don't know. I want to fight guys in the top 5. I want to, like, beating Strickland, puts me at 1 again, and that's as close as you can get, really, right?
In addition to Chimaev being lower in the rankings than him, Whittaker also seems eager to compete against Strickland because of comments the former champ made about the Reaper being overly reliant on his ability to blitz on the feet. Given that, Whittaker indicated that he wants to see if the outspoken #1 contender has any way of stopping his signature style. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Garry reveals plans to be a double champion. Prior to his recent fight with Jeff Neal, Garry dropped his hit list, making it clear that he not only has his sights set on top welterweight contenders like Colby Covington, but also contenders at 185 pounds, such as Sean Strickland. With fighters like Shavkat Rakhmonov and Khamzat Chimaev both being discussed among the MMA community as fighters with the capability of being champions in 2 divisions, Garry has continued to make it clear that he has plans of being a double champ himself.
Could you imagine a scenario? Sorry to interrupt. Could you imagine a scenario where it's Shavkat is the welterweight champion and I fight Shavkat and I win? Shavkat loses his own. Ian Machado Garry becomes the welterweight champion in the world. Khamzat Chimaev is middleweight champion in the world, undefeated. Ian Machado Garry moves up, takes his own. GOAT status right there. That's the dreams. That's the level where I'm thinking about. That's the competition I'm thinking about and what I want to make happen.
According to UFC.com, Garry is actually taller than both Rakhmonov and Chimaev, holding a 2-inch height advantage over the Nomad and a 1-inch height advantage over Chimaev. While there's been no word on his next fight, the undefeated star has certainly called his shot. Next, let's take a look at Jon Jones not scared of Tom Aspinall. Although it's been made clear that the UFC won't allow Tom Aspinall to cut the line and compete against either Jon Jones in a title unification bout or Stipe Miocic in an interim title fight, there's been quite a bit of talk regarding whether or not the winner of the upcoming Jones vs. Miocic fight will stick around to fight Aspinall and unify the title. The situation has led some to theorize that Jones is ducking Aspinall. However, the way Curtis Blaydes sees things, the champ simply has his sights set on the bigger fight. Ahead of his UFC 299 scrap with Jailton Almeida, Blaydes weighed in on the heavyweight title picture while speaking with MMA Fighting. John's not scared of nobody. He's not scared of Aspinall. He's going after Stipe. Stipe is the scariest heavyweight of the past 15 odd years. He's going after him. I don't think he's scared or nothing. That's just the nature of the beast. It's a business. We get it. Jon Jones versus Stipe right now, without either of them having another potential loss, is the biggest heavyweight fight of the century. It really is. The UFC is going to do everything to preserve that. Should Blaydes get a big win over Jailton Almeida on Saturday, he and Aspinall could wind up running things back while the division waits for the Jones versus Miocic fight to play out. Next, let's take a look at Umar Nurmagomedov DMs get leaked. Vinicius Oliveira is fresh off one of the most jaw-dropping knockouts of the year at UFC Vegas 87 this past weekend. However, he's already got his sights set on a fight with Umar Nurmagomedov, who defeated Begzat Almakhan on the same card. Oliveira took to social media, sharing screenshots of his DM exchange with Nurmagomedov. Although we can't see the first message, Nurmagomedov responded by writing, "Anytime, even in the street." Oliveira can then be seen responding, "Shut your chicken ass mouth. On the street with no rules, I'll rip your heart out and feed it to some dogs. You don't scare me. First, you're short, weak, and you only have wrestling. I respect you, but you have no chance of beating me, not even in your best dream." Nurmagomedov can then be seen responding, "I told you anytime," before then requesting Oliveira's phone number. Oliveira didn't provide his phone number, instead eventually writing, "Talk to me during the fight. I'll talk with my manager, he'll talk with Dana, and so let's to that, buddy," after Nurmagomedov pressed for his phone number. As Umar then wrote, "Be ready when you're gonna see me. No matter they will give us fight. Be ready, we gonna check who is scared." That prompted a long message from Oliveira, where he wrote in part, "I'm the only man able to defeat you and put you to sleep. You can't touch me. You can't put me on the ground with your horrible wrestling or sambo." The screenshot then shows Nurmagomedov attempting to call Oliveira before then sending a voice message. Oliveira shared the screenshots on his story, tagging the UFC and writing, "The new victim was found. Umar Nurmagomedov gonna sleep and have nightmares with my name. Let's do it, Dana White. Don't be little chicken and accept this fight. I'll show you the real war." So far, no word from the UFC. Joe Rogan gets called out for an interview he did with Mike Perry. Mike recently revealed that, while on the Joe Rogan Experience, he felt that Joe was trying too hard to give him advice rather than talking to him person to person. Here's what Mike Perry had to say.
You know, Joe Rogan, I think I expected to have a conversation with Joe and be person to person.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he was trying to help me. It seemed like a professional standpoint from him for trying to build my career. But it's like me coming on your show is already building my career. I just want you to be a person with me and have a conversation with me. But he was very structured and about everything he would talk about. And I'm like, come on, man, you talk about aliens and all this other shit. That's the shit I want to talk about. Ask me some shit that gets my brain going. And he was just so professional trying to steer my career on the right path. And it's just like, damn, man, maybe I wasn't ready. And I didn't open Joe up to free conversation, you know?
Dustin Poirier breaks silence on his retirement from the UFC. He revealed that he knows the end is near and he's preparing himself for the moment. Here's what he had to say.
I mean, I know it's coming. I can't do this forever. I'm 35 years old. This is my, I don't know how many 40th professional fight. I have a lot of amateur fights as well. You know, I have a family to be there for, and I can't love something so much that because every time I get in there, Saturday night, a piece of me is going to leave that I can never get back. And I've come to terms with that every time I step in there. And sometimes it's not that way, but 95% of the time it is that way. Yeah. Just the way I fight and the kind of fights I get involved in. Yeah. And I understand that, but I can't love something so much to where it takes away from what's most important. Fighting is just something I do.
Mm-hmm. Top comments. Strickland versus Khamzat would actually be crazy. Tony plans to fight until the wheels fall off. Pretty sure they've already fallen off, mate, like 3 losses ago. Someone responded with, at this point Tony is picking up his car and walking like Fred Flintstone. Aldo kinda dirty talking about Chito's fight camp. Too bad they determined Strickland didn't fit their narrative of a champ and gave his belt to Du Plessis. Strickland versus Adesanya 2 rematch would have drawn huge numbers for UFC 300. UFC bit their nose to spite their face on that one. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.